It is time for another episode of the Baschamania podcast. This is episode 23 with five-time world team member, two-time world medalist James Green. As if this success isn't enough to talk about being on 5 straight world teams, James recently bumped up to 74, where he has his friend and teammate Jordan Burroughs waiting for him, who's also a world and Olympic champion. So in order to make 6 straight teams and finally achieve his goal of being a world Olympic champion, James has Jordan Burroughs, Kyle Dake, Jason Nolf, Aymar, Makai Lewis, Vincenzo Joseph, you name it. There is just an absolute barn burner of a tournament waiting for him to make the world and Olympic team. And I'm really curious to dive into this conversation with James and talk about his perspective and what do you think he has to do to get to that level where he's going to win the tournament with that caliber of a group of guys. And on top of that, what it's taken to get to this point, going back to his early days in Jersey and getting to where he is now and having the success he's had. So we're going to dive into this conversation with James Green. Before we do, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, be sure to subscribe. This podcast is available wherever you're listening right now. It's available on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, Stitcher, you name it, it's there. So go ahead and subscribe. We've already had a couple dozen great guests on, and I promise there are so many more great guests to have on the show. And let me know. Send me your feedback. Let me know who you'd like to have on the show. But as for right now, you're here to hear from James Green. So let's roll the intro and get this thing started.
It's Baschamania! Let me tell you something, brother. He gave us everything he had in him tonight. What you gonna do when Baschamania runs wild on you? Oh, it's gonna be a good one. And business just picked up here on the podcast. Oh, yeah.
Mr. James Green, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really good. And yourself?
I'm doing good, man. You've been busy. We've been trying to coordinate this for a few weeks, and it's like, all right, I'm going to Russia. All right, I'm on my way to Colorado Springs.
Yeah, man, the grind doesn't stop. And with the holidays, doing a lot of traveling, going to see family. And, yeah, I was on my way to Florida, and then I left from Florida to Russia, wrestled there, and now I'm here at the Olympic Training Center for this week. But, yeah, it's been fun.
And how you feeling? You looked good. You're bulking up to 74 nicely. How did you feel competing at that weight?
I felt really good. It's great to be up a weight and, not have to cut weight. There's obviously one less thing to worry about. And, I get to eat a lot more without having to cut back on anything. So wrestling for the first time there, I felt like I had a lot of energy. I didn't feel like I struggled at all against any of the other guys as far as, strength-wise. And at this tournament, we got to weigh in on a Friday, the night before, with 2 kilos. So not quite scratch weight yet, but it was still good to wrestle with those guys. Yeah, and I'm really confident moving forward.
For sure, man. And I want to get into the Olympic trials. But before that, I want to kind of get into the James Green story a little bit. Going back, you've been in Nebraska for so long that whether it's me or other people, I feel like you've become one with Nebraska wrestling. And I think especially younger fans might not know that you're even from Jersey. Like, you are Jersey through and through, but you've been in Lincoln and you've been in Nebraska for so long. Like, I'm curious, going back to the Jersey days, what got you started wrestling in Jersey, in one of the toughest states in this country?
I played football just like a lot of other kids growing up. And one of my teammates and very close friend family had ran our junior program, and they basically suggested to my dad that I should come out and wrestle. And like most kids, I really didn't want to wrestle. I wanted to be a football player. Right. I wanted to be a running back. I played running back and a cornerback growing up. But I ended up going wrestling in this the Willenboro Junior program with the Scotland family. They're a great family, welcoming. They help a lot of people out in the community. And, it all started from there, just taking my bumps and bruises along the way.
Yep.
And, me and my family, so no one else in my family, besides one of my cousins, had wrestled. So we were all learning, do things, just the tournaments, the traveling, the weekends, everything. And so it was kind of like a family affair, and it was really fun and pretty neat just to kind of travel up and down the state and go to different places, different tournaments, and yeah, the rest is history. I'm here. Now, I would not have imagined that me coming from Willingboro, especially that I'd be where I'm at today, but I wouldn't change anything.
And, like, Jersey is one of the toughest state tournaments in the country. It's just the way it's ran, the way it's like there's one champ per weight, there's not all these divisions, everything. How did you work towards becoming a state champion at that level? Like, how did you find success early in your career?
Right. Yeah, I had to learn the hard way. For one, my freshman year, when I made the decision just to kind of focus, I stopped playing football in 8th grade, and I wanted to focus on wrestling. Mind you, I was just wrestling 105, so I assumed I'd be a 103. I'd be a 103 pounder coming in, but I hit a little growth spurt that summer, so I actually ended up wrestling 125.
That's
again,
a big spurt
I
early.
Yeah. So it was really a nice jump for me, but at the same time, I should have probably been maybe 119. I didn't really have to cut weight, and I found myself being just a little smaller than everyone else, but I still had fun. Like you said, New Jersey is a tough state. I went undefeated all the way up to our districts, and I think I took like 3rd or something in my regions, but I didn't place at the state tournament my freshman year. So then I'm like, dang, I obviously have to do something different if I want to pursue wrestling after high school. And because obviously New Jersey, these guys that are going to colleges, D1, they're winning multiple state championships. And yeah, I didn't even place my freshman year. So big family friend of mine, Bob Acosta, who's still living in New Jersey, and he's still really helping out the wrestling community there, and any kids that want to get some exposure, he would always be willing to take me around to different practices and different clubs, and I'd go up to Blair quite often, get in a room with those guys. Around that time, like Chris Villalonga and Austin Ormsby, they were all there. So it was good getting in the room with those guys and, learning from Buxton and different coaches. And I saw improvement. So then my sophomore year, I took 4th in the state. And I started going to more national tournaments, like, Super 32 and traveling, because I think that's really a big part of it. Sometimes you get, in football where you're just kind of playing the local talent, the neighboring counties, you get trapped in there. And in wrestling, you got to get more exposure. You got to go seek the best. And
totally.
That's what I ended up doing. So by the time my junior year comes, I find myself in the finals, and that's when I got some recognition because I went to the Lock Haven tournament open as a junior, and I ended up being in a 3rd and 4th place match, but we never wrestled it because they didn't want to referee. It was weird, but
what?
Yeah. So it was. I was supposed to wrestle all, and I had lost to all in, and it was like late in the day. The refs didn't. They were leaving. It was stupid. So we never even ended up wrestling that match. But yeah, got to the 3rd and 4th place match as a junior in high school at a college open. So that's how my Nebraska connection started to form there. And even though I was getting some recognition my junior year, I still ended up taking 2nd in the state. So I was really hurt.
Yeah.
Really hurt. I'm like, dang, still thinking, like, how am I going to get to the next level? And I can't even win a state title.
And it's funny.
Nebraska
go ahead.
saw potential in me. Yeah, Nebraska saw potential in me. And so, we started communicating. But that was the only school so far. And yeah. My senior year, I finally got it done.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't remember what interview it was, but I can recall an interview you did not too long ago where you described your career as a grind. And,
Yeah.
watching your career, like, you can see that. Like, all throughout college, you All-American all 4 years, finishing 7th a few times, 3rd a few times.
Yep.
You've made 5 world teams. You've finished 3rd and 2nd. And, like, if you look at your career and the losses you had, like, I remember, I didn't know at the time just how great he was. I remember being in Vegas for the 2015 World Championships, and I think that's when you lost to Yazdani. And then in 2017, like, you lose to Chamizo. And, like, these guys that are beating you are world and Olympic champions. Like, your career has been a grind. Like, I'm curious what that grind has taught you to keep going, because I can hear the consistent messaging. Like, I don't want to be that guy who's a runner-up or who's 3rd. Like, I want to be the guy who wins. I want to be the guy. I remember after Final X, you said, like, I want to be the guy in the highlights. Like, what has that grind taught you to keep getting you to try to level up and get to that next level?
Really, is that you have to be persistent, right? You have to be persistent even if you get knocked down. And really, with the college grind, that's what that taught me, because as much as I didn't like it, I had a lot of inconsistent performances where, I'd go out and wrestle like an all-star, and then I'd have a couple head-scratcher losses. And really, to me, that's just kind of like telling myself that, if in order to be the best, I got to be more consistent. And I think that's really, really, obviously, with the best guys in the world, that's it. They're consistent. Whether like Jordan, he, how many times has he been down in a match, and, he's the best at closing out a match, or even if he's down 2 or 3, but he's always consistent no matter what. He's going to be firing off his shots and things of that nature. So it's been teaching me, not to be deterred, keep the goal in mind, and stay persistent, really. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm really excited at this weight to get the opportunity to really put in work and, find success. But
and that's like the next thing, like, both kind of off that I want to ask you. Like, one is, I'm curious what your definition of success is, and as you go through your career, like how you view success, whether or not that's world gold or you growing or from a brand standpoint. But I'm also curious. Well, let me ask you that. What is your definition of success in your mind? Like, do you view success as only winning world gold, or what do you view that as?
Well, for me, success, or, if you set out to have a goal and you achieve that, that's success. So, and for me, I don't know anyone in the world that says, I just want to be the second, or I just want to get 3rd. I obviously want to be the best. So that to me would be successful in my mind, achieving a goal that you set out to, achieve. So, or so along those lines, you have your long-term goals and your short-term goals. And I've been doing a lot of that, short-term goals, as far as making world teams, or, getting down, keeping my weight right, or hitting my weight goals and things of that nature. So there's only one goal left to do, and I can consider it being successful. But overall, I feel like I've had a pretty successful career. I can't complain. I'm not going to be mad. There's not a lot. There's only 10 guys each year, and I'm one of those guys. So for the past 5 years, so I can't be mad about that on one hand, but independently and in my mind, I still got some things to achieve. So
And it's interesting because the second kind of prong off that question was, it's funny. There's guys who win world championships and they're not viewed as strong because of the competition or because of the weight or whatever the reason. And you've been that guy who your losses when you took a bronze and a silver are to guys like Yazdani and Chamizo. And now to accomplish your final goal of winning an Olympic or a world medal, and you want to do it this year at 74, you're feeling better than ever, it seems, but you now have yet another world and Olympic champion and your friend Jordan at that weight in your path. How do you balance both that friendship and saying, I want this as much, if not more than you? And also, like, okay, I didn't beat Yazdani, I didn't beat Chamizo, and now here's another opportunity to beat a world and Olympic champion. Like, what's your mindset going into that?
Well, yes, again, there's Jordan, but he's already sitting in the final, so there's a couple other people we got to get through first. And with that in the back of my mind, I just know that, and at the end of the day, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. But just because things seem impossible doesn't mean that they're not possible. So,
sure.
Yeah, really, me and Jordan, we're friends. We've been friends with, as you know, I spent more time out in Nebraska, and he hosted me in my recruiting trip.
Right.
Our relationship is going to be solid. With the results, whatever happens. But I mean, we're both having fun. We train in the same room. We've hung out. Our families hang out. So yeah, you know, whenever that competition, we're both competitive.
Right.
Even when we work out together, whether we're doing sprints, it's always going to be competitive. But at the end of the day, we're always going to be friends, and we'll laugh about it. And yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be interesting if it does happen. But yeah, you got a lot of guys in that weight class. 74 kilos is probably one of the, I guess, the stacked weight class.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all stacked weight classes, but there's you got basically you got two world champs, because you have Kyle Dake coming down and
right,
and into the weight class. So yeah, those guys are, I mean, the best in the world, and that's where I want to be. So if I can get through them, then, you know, why not win a world or Olympic medal? So
yeah,
it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. And switching gears a little bit from that, you know, one of the other things you have to balance this year is that 6 months ago you became a father. How has that impacted your wrestling, and how has that impacted your focus and perspective of it all?
I guess it's really more of me wanting to get back, you know, as much as I want to go compete and get opportunities to train. I'm now looking more forward to getting back home, and really that's about it. My wife, she's really been supportive and helpful, especially with the Olympic year coming up. You know, she's telling me, you know, whatever you feel you need to do or that's going to help you improve, then do it. You know, they'll be there supporting me and cheering me on the whole way. So it's almost kind of like a sacrifice in this moment as far as spending time with the family. But and they understand, or my daughter doesn't understand right now, but she will later on. And yeah, my wife, she's been real supportive. But it's been fun too, because every time I come back, there's always something new. I'm learning something new, and she's grown so fast. So yeah, she'll be 6 months on the 14th, and yeah, she'll be on the move soon here too. She's starting to like crawl around and scoot in her little walker, so it's fun.
Well, I'm
happy to get back.
I remember you joking after Final X, but I don't know if it was Nomad or one of the media guys was like, was that dad's strength? After you beat Deacon right away. It's like, 36 hours of dad's strength.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, she's getting heavier in that car seat. You definitely get some dad strength when you're carrying them in and out the car. So that's pretty funny.
And speaking of like balancing fatherhood, and there's only really a limited number of guys, especially like there's obviously guys that have kids and are competing in the Olympic trials and the Open and all that, but like as far as being on the team, like it's limited. Like, you know, guys like Jordan and you, like there's not that many. And I feel like on top of balancing fatherhood in wrestling, you guys are also really balancing longevity of your career, of your health, from a business and brand standpoint. And I know, like, we've done some stuff, like we helped you out with a website, try to build up that brand a bit. How are you balancing the business side of wrestling with your future? I mean, you're young, and wrestling's such a brutal sport. Like, wrestling, it doesn't kick you out, but it's like after you hit like 30, 31, 32, you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, how have you started balancing the longevity with what you're doing now, or have you not really worried about it yet?
No, I've definitely been trying to, and it's definitely hard, especially with the sport. And the way that our situations and our, the RTCs being intertwined with the colleges and
Yep.
trying to train, and it's a lot of ownership once you graduate. And even though the resources are there for you, it's up to you to use that. So at Nebraska, we have our trainers, and obviously they have the guys that are on scholarships, guys that they're going to school that they have to take care of, and it's just up to us to be willing to fit into the time. So if they can only fit me in at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., then I got to make sure I get up and get what I need. Or if I got to stay longer, then do that. As far as taking care of my body and recovering, and a lot of stuff is on my own too. Whether it's doing some yoga classes or even just doing something, finding yoga on YouTube and doing it at my house, and just being smart about it. And as far as the business, it's definitely tough. And like you said, we've done the website, and I've even tried to do a couple of blogs and videos, but it's time consuming, right? Because
dude, it's very time consuming.
Yeah, you got your traveling, you're training, and when you're not training and traveling, it should be your downtime to relax. But then that's also time when you can be making some blog videos or writing up a blog, and setting up a camp or a clinic or just the next thing. So it's nonstop, but with the right people around and the right organization and planning, it's definitely possible. And right now I'm definitely trying to get a better hold on that. And with the social media, I think it just makes it a lot easier to just get more exposure and spread your business and your brand out there. And with that being available to us, I think you can have a lot more people will have longevity in wrestling. And now with the teams too, especially I feel like not just here in the U.S., but if you do find yourself struggling, or there's just the option to, we have how many Americans now wrestle for different countries. So that's another thing too. And I think it's good for the sport and good for us to show that we have some depth here. So it's pretty cool.
And do you know what you want to do when you're getting done competing, like whether it's coaching, or have you started to formulate that plan yet?
I haven't really, but I see myself coaching. I love the sport of wrestling. It's done a lot for me. And what other way, to give back? It's done so much for me, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that could benefit from wrestling. Not too long ago, I did, kind of a clinic back in my hometown, and right now their wrestling program was on the decline. So just kind of being able to do that and show that, you can get to a lot of places just by through the sport of wrestling. So, yeah, I definitely see coaching in my future.
And what do you think? Like you bring up a good point in wanting to get back to wrestling, and like it's no different than me. Even like all I did was wrestle in modified and JV and through high school, and I was never any good. But still, there's a level that the sport brings you in, and I can't imagine when you have the success that a guy like you has, like how much more you want to give back. Like what has this sport meant to you? Like what has this sport done for you aside from provide you the opportunity to compete and grow? Like, what do you think wrestling has done for you specifically?
I mean, really, it the way my career has been, and as far as me setting my goals and not achieving them, and it's just kind of it just has set a mindset where, at the end of the day, that things could be worse.
Yep.
But I'm in the right direction to make them better. I'm always looking to improve, and there's always way to move ahead and move up. And I think that kind of has been the definition of my career so far, that I'm always on the rise. And wrestling has just taught me that as long as I believe and people around you believe that in you and support you, that you can accomplish a lot of things. A lot of people want to help you. A lot of people want to reach out and be supportive of you. And all you have to do is keep an open mind and be willing to listen. And good things can happen. So wrestling is just, I mean, it's been great. I can't complain. And I don't think I've ever met anyone that said they wish they never wrestled. You know, it's just one of those sports that it touches everyone a little differently, but it's a great sport. We have a great community too. Great community, guys.
And going back to kind of bringing this conversation full circle a little bit, you know, so the Olympic trials are in 4 months, 5 months in April in State College. What do the next few months look like for you leading up to the Olympic trials?
So yeah, I'm at the OTC right now, and we're actually I'm going to be talking to Bill here later this afternoon, just talk about competition. But I believe I'll probably do something again next month in January, and then it might slow down. I don't know if there's too much going on in February, so yeah, January might be the last as far as international competition, and then just kind of really get locked in and just get ready for the trials.
And what's your mindset? You know, kind of going back real quick to the mindset of you're it's the Olympic year. Every weight class is stacked, but like to focus in on 74, like you have Jordan, you have Dake, you have Makai Lewis, Imar Nolf, like you have so many talented wrestlers. What do you think it's going to be for you that you need to do in order to walk away from that gauntlet of a tournament as the Olympic team member?
You named a lot of great guys, a lot of successful wrestlers, and really the big focus is to focus on the match that's at hand, because at the end of the day, you don't wrestle all those guys. You might wrestle a few, two or three, but you definitely don't have to wrestle all those guys. So obviously we don't know what the brackets will be like today, but whenever we do and whenever they come out, that's just kind of focus on that one match at a time. But if I focus on what I know I need to do, just kind of be more firing off more shots and open up more, create more possibilities, because I think it's not only fun for me, fun to wrestle, it's fun for the fans too. Just be more. There's a lot on the line, but even though there's a lot, if I throw my all at it, I won't be mad at the results. Sure. So, yeah.
And you got good training there too. I mean, like Jordan's there. I forget, like Tyler Berger just registered, I know too, for the Open next weekend. Like that's a lot of good training within your own room.
Yeah, we have a lot of guys. Nebraska wrestling is going great as well. I train right now with Peyton Robb and Colin Parrington. Roll around with Isaiah White and Jordan. So the college guys are really helpful, and along with the senior guys, Berger and JB. So it's great to be in the room and mix it up with those guys and watch them go on their journey and through their college career. Has been fun too, and they're helping us. So, Nebraska wrestling it's a great room, great place to train right now.
Dude, they're top 3 right now. I mean, that's no joke.
Yeah, they're it's fun to be there and see it happen, especially since I wrestle for Nebraska,
right?
And I think my team was a lot better than the team there right now.
No bias, right?
Yeah, no bias, but those guys they're doing good, man. I'm excited for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen, man, I know you got a busy day in Colorado, so I'm going to let you go. Yeah. I appreciate you stopping by and chatting for a little bit.
I appreciate you for having me on.
Of course, man. We'll speak soon, and good luck in your next competition.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. You too. And that is it for today's show. Whether this was your first episode or you're a repeat listener, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this show, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you're listening now. We've had some incredible guests on the show so far, and there are so many more to have on. And if there are people in the wrestling community you want to hear from, let me know, and I'll do my best to get those guys on the show too. If you want to connect with me online, my name again is Justin Bash. I'm at JBash on Instagram and at Justin J Bash on Twitter. Feel free to reach out with your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Until the next episode, see ya.
And the beat goes on.